One of the biggest problems I see with leaders, whether it be a real estate team, whether it be real estate coaches, whether it be with broker owners, is an inability to effectively coach agents that are too busy. That's the biggest excuse. I'm overwhelmed. And you got a lot in the spring when, they're out of shape, right? They've been just loafing through waiting for the spring, but then all of a sudden they start getting some business and they get too busy, they get overwhelmed. It also happens, anytime they're out of shape and they're getting in shape, like when they just first start, they're overwhelmed by all the different things they need to set up and do and stuff like that. And you hear that a ton with agents that you're coaching. It's important to understand the real concern here is that they just don't have time. They're too busy. And where I really see a lot of leaders failing is by just going robot coach mode, which is I want you to do 10 contacts a day or 20 contacts a day, or just making it really contact driven. And I know a lot of coaching companies out there have taught that for years and decades, going way back into the old days when the phone was king and there wasn't other ways to generate business. And what we do is we just overwhelm our clients and they start complaining of anxiety. They start complaining of stress. They start talking about time, mental health, all those things start coming up, any excuse that comes from it. And then what coaches tend to do is they tend to fall into bad leadership. This person doesn't have what it takes. This is a weak client. This is a client who can't afford to be in the business. They start assigning to these clients all of these different reasons why they can't lead them and coach them. And that's what ends up happening. And that's bad leadership. And understand what they'll tell you when they're getting overwhelmed. If you do exit interviews off a team or a brokerage, they'll tell you a bunch of reasons and they'll tell you things like, I can't afford it. They'll tell you things like, I have credit card debt. 9 times out of 10, guys, they're lying because they don't want to admit that they just can't do the hard work, that they truly are overwhelmed. That's why I don't put a lot into exit interviews. It's the old adage, man, it's not you, it's me. They don't want to tell you you're ugly when the girlfriend breaks up with you. They don't want to tell you that you're a jerk when the girlfriend breaks up with you. So they make something up to make it softer. So they actually give you a script as a leader to make it feel like it's their fault. And then we buy it. Why? Because it makes us feel better. So understand, we got to stop buying into it. Half the times they tell you they're broke, they go sign up with another coach or another company. We see it all the time. And then we say, oh, wow, they went over there. Grass is always greener. That's because you as a coach weren't able to break through and figure out what the real problem was. Guys, if someone says they're overwhelmed or they're not getting what they're supposed to done finished by the time you meet with them next, understand they've got a time management problem. So that should always be one of your first appointments. I'm trying to get to this appointment so quickly because time management is so frequently the biggest problem with agents when they first start to lead generate, when they first start trying to carve out activities. So I'm going to tell you how I would work with a new client, whether it be a low producer, a new agent, or someone on my team or my brokerage or wherever. The first thing I'm going to do is I've got to teach them. They've got to learn what they're doing because that's how we paint a picture of the path. If we just start making them do contacts and they haven't bought into what they're doing, they almost always quit. I think 99 out of 100 agents quit that. It's the 1 out of 100 that just moves forward with complete faith. So you've got to get them bought in. Certainly if you're one of our clients or one of our coaches trying to train in classes and in person, it just does not get them motivated fast enough. So nowadays, the way we quickly get people that knowledge in their head is we train them by video, right? So a lot of our courses have visual modules. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get commitment from them because early on, they'll give you a lot of commitment. I'll say, I need to get 2 or 3 hours from you a day. And I'll let them pick what they need. I don't care if it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I really don't care. I'm not going to have a concrete formula for that. I'm going to say, okay, and usually they'll say I can give you 2. And I'll say, great, it's 10 hours a week. After that, you can do whatever you want. I just care about those 1 to 2 to 3 hours a week. Can you give me that? Because I'm going to give you 2 to 3 hours of work per day to do. right? And this is after, just like a listing appointment, I've tapped into their motivation. I always want to find out what their big why is. What happens if they get what they want, and what happens if they don't? Tell me what happens if you succeed or don't. I want to know that right off the bat. And then I'll give you an example with what we do as coaches with our clients is we have a lot of online listing referral partners out there. So the first thing I would do, probably on my first call, if I were back to coaching again myself, I would be saying, hey, I want you to get signed up on these online listing referral partners, right? And we got 30 of them, right? So that way you start getting listings. And yes, you pay a referral fee only if you close, because I don't want them to have to spend a lot of money. We try not to do that to our clients. So I'm going to start doing that. And then I want you to sign up. Can you sign up for 3 a day? You got to go on their platform, fill out some information, fill out a profile. Can you give me 3 a day? That should probably take you, I don't know, 45 minutes per day on just that. Right? And then by the end of 7 days before our next coaching call, you'll have all those filled up. And see, they're getting value. They see we're doing something for them. Then I might also say, okay, I need to paint the path for them. So they got to see where this is going. So let's say I'm working with a client on building their sphere of influence. That's super common. So they're going to build their referral based business. Can you watch 2 20-minute videos of me a day? That's 40 minutes total. Can you squeeze that in? We'll fit that in there too. So I want you to watch modules 1 and 2 tomorrow. I'm going to give you today free. Then modules 3 and 4 the day after. And then modules 4 and 5, and you take the weekend off. And then next week, modules, whatever, the next 2. And I'm going to specify that way you're through module 10 5 days from now. So you will be through module 10 by watching 2 modules a day by the next call. Very specific, very clean. Is there enough time for you to do that? Yes. Great. Okay, so now I'm actually showing them, once they get through that many modules, they're starting to see, and I'll explain what's happening. I'm gonna paint the finish line vision here for them always. I'm gonna say, okay, because what I need to do, I need you to get through these courses quickly so you can start picking all the different ways that you feel comfortable growing your sphere of influence. You'll start to see all the different options you have, because you can't do them all. No one can. So don't get overwhelmed. I want you to be exposed to them all so we can very quickly get you into action generating business from your sphere of influence. Okay? And then in the meantime, and you'll see how to do this in modules 1, 2, and 3, primarily modules 1 and 2 that you're going to take tomorrow, I want you to start reaching out either by the phone or digitally to get all of the contact information, which, write this down, name, phone, email address, and physical address for 5 contacts a day. That should not take you any more than 2 hours. That's all I want you doing, is reaching out. You can use this script if you want. You're going to see it in the modules when you go through them. But it's just, hey, I'm trying to stay in better touch with my clients. That way I can be there for you if there's anything going wrong with your house, and maybe send you something over the holidays. So while I got you here, can I get your email address? Can I get your updated phone number? Whatever you don't have. And if you get stuck because the only thing you have is their home address, then I want you just to move past that for now and pick another one. I'm not going to have you writing letters or door knocking. I can't slow you down right now. We'll cover those at the end. I'll show you how. And then the last thing I want you to do is, with each of those 5, I want you to make sure you're friends with them on Facebook and Instagram. Gone are the days that we keep people off of social media. We are on it a lot, because that's a lead generation source. That's how we stay in touch with them. Okay? And that's all I want you to do. So let's review that. Okay? And then I'm going to write that down somewhere so that when I meet with them next week, I'm going to ask them, did you get all these things done? And see, when I give them those things, you might get a real hard charging, like D behavior that just wants to go. And they might say, that's all? And I'll say, hey, we're going to start there and we're going to increase it. Okay? If they tell me they only have 1 hour a day, I might just give them 1 video a day. You know what I'm saying? And I might have them only set up 1 online listing referral based platform per day rather than 3. I might have them do 3 contacts rather than 5. The key is to start small here. We have to start really small, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to a place where next week they don't get it all done because then they're overwhelmed. I want to hear I'm overwhelmed, I don't have time, I'm flustered, because then I'm going to say, okay, then I'm going to have them watch my module on time management. I'm going to move real quick to the time management module. Can you watch this by next week? And I also want you to, then I'm going to teach them how to time block on that call. I want you to put in your calendar, the very first thing you're to do is all your personal commitments. Right now, I'm going to teach them how to use Gmail calendar if they don't know how. I want all your personal commitments. You got to go to the choir practice, go there. You got to go to your kids' practice, go there. You have to spend time with your wife, you're going to dinner. If you've got a client appointments already, all those things, I want them all in there. There'll be plenty of time left over, trust me. And then I want you to put 2 hours for me every single morning, okay? And at the end of each day, I want you to text a screenshot of your calendar, and I want you to text it to me. And if at any point in time you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not getting it done, here's the deal. You need to text me that day. Text me that day. What I don't want you to do is wait until next week when we meet to get a get out of jail free card because, oh my gosh, I got overwhelmed again. I don't want you to waste another week because you're urgent. We got to get you going right now. You're not making money. You're brand new. You're a low producer, whatever. So I'm showing them that my accountability is getting tighter. I'm there for them like a good parent would to a kid who's not doing his homework. I'm going to start getting more involved. So you text me the very same day you don't get it done. Okay? I want to know, and then I'm going to hop in and help. And then I want to look at your calendar. And next week, I want to see every one of your calendar days screenshot to make sure you carved out time for your career, for your business, for your family, and you protected that time. If someone calls you, if your time block's from 9 to 11 in the morning, and someone calls you at 10, do not answer it. You text them back really quick, I'll call you in an hour, is that okay? And everybody's going to be okay in real estate. It's a very slow business. It's only urgent because we make it urgent. If you don't believe me, just tell me how many client calls you've answered in a listing presentation. None. Because it's not urgent. You just call them right afterwards. I need you to actually protect time for the things that get you the listing presentations. Okay? And we have to start teaching time management for a while. We have to slowly keep weaving that in. I want to look at their calendar. I want to see it regularly. I want them to feel that time and being overwhelmed is not going to be an excuse. They're never going to admit that's the problem. They're going to know that that can't be the problem. They're going to learn the importance of lead generation before we start bringing people on and making them do tons of contacts. That's what creates high turnover. That's how we lose clients. That's what creates bad leaders. And that's how we start judging other clients. We need to teach them the basics. Time management is tricky. Most leaders don't know how to do it. Most coaches don't know how to do it. Those that can't do, coach and teach. That's the old adage. So we've got to be able, that's why they get back in and they have a hard time doing it themselves. They can't manage their time. They don't want to do it. They can't block. So we must teach that. I'll send them my calendar right back to show them, look what mine's like. On my calendar, it says when I brush my teeth and when I eat breakfast and when I shower. Why? I'm so freaking productive that if I don't block that stuff off, I will forget to do some of it. And I want them to realize I live my life that way. And that helps me get very present in every conversation. I'm never worried about stuff I need to get done. I'm never worried about things slipping through the cracks because I always put a by when next to everything. I don't have a to-do list of stuff I've got to do that I can keep pushing down the road and it never gets done. That just creates stress and anxiety in my head. I do not believe in to-do lists in any way, shape, or form. It needs to be a when am I going to do list. So you put a commitment of time next to everything. Absolutely crucial. So that's probably the key to coaching new agents is we have to teach them how to manage their time first so it eliminates about 90% of their excuses. Even if they don't know that's their excuse. We have to teach that up front before it's too late. We have to get the learning in with the activity. Or if we just put the activity out in front of knowing why they're doing it and get excited about the different ways they can grow their business, they do not know where they're going. They have no clue what the finish line looks like. So why should I go through all the work running this race to get there? They will quit. So we have to move both forward very quickly and use the opportunities, wait. And then if they accomplish it by their first call, then we can say, can you handle more or not? Because we can move you faster. And I'm trying to get them to that time management issue. Very rarely do we have a problem getting there. Almost everybody hits that. So that's how we start. Otherwise, you're just going to be believing all their junk about how they're not adequate, how they can't afford it, and all that kind of stuff. That's what they'll tell you. And you'll buy it because it makes you feel better about what you did with them. You did your part. Their circumstances are what caused the problem. And it's hard. It is hard to stomach that type of shame. So it's much easier. I know some of you are thinking right now, oh man, no, you don't understand. This guy really was a mess. Got it. Got it. I'm sure they're telling those same problems to the other company they're at right now. Make sense? So we got to learn that kind of stuff. Strong leadership.